Welcome into the Toyota Lounge. It is a loser's lounge, but you know what? Even when you lose, you're a winner when you get into the Toyota after the game. At least it's a comfortable car to drive home in.
AC?
Yeah, look, we could use some AC up here, I'll tell you that. This is the DNVR Avalanche Postgame Show presented by Bet365. We got E, we got Rudo. The Avs lose to the New York Islanders 6-2. I think the number of good things that we have to talk about can be counted on one hand, and I've ran out of toes on the side of things bad that happened in this game.
Your toes are... Yeah, you're running out of toes.
Not a good one, to say the least. Let's do the 60-second rundown for you right here. I got it. Game actually started out well. I thought the Avs came out hot. They were playing well. They eventually get rewarded with that. Ritchie scores his first ever NHL goal. Congratulations to the kid. It seemed like the Avs were ready to put a good game together. And then a soft goal where Georgiev fails to seal the post goes in. It's 1-1. I don't think Georgiev was the Avs' biggest problem by any stretch of the imagination today, but that goal completely snuffed out any momentum the Avs had. They were the worst team for the rest of the game by a good margin. A goal late in the period off of a really bad turnover from Josh Manson makes it 2-1. The second period was a horrible period of hockey, incredibly boring. Nothing happened except for the Avs give up 2 goals. One of them, crazy bad defense from Oliver Shillington. One of them, crazy bad power play and Cale Makar doing stupid things. The Avs do get 1 goal back early in the third. It was not particularly meaningful as they give it away 5 minutes later, and that was your game. An empty netter makes it 6-2. Yikes. Yikes. And one more time, yikes. Look, had the Avs won their first 2 games of the season, had this been a game that was played a little bit down the road, longer into the season, where the Avs hadn't just played 2 brutal losses, I think the story would be, yeah, the Avs suck tonight, whatever, let's move on.
Yep.
But because the Avs are now 0-3 because of this game, how much more concern is there?
Well, I would have been, what you were saying there, like, let's say they would have won the first 2. I would have been mad tonight for the reasons that, man, what do we talk about? You're streaking at 3, right? Oh, my God, they missed the opportunity to go up 3-0. Right? You know, I would still find a way to be mad somehow, right? Yep. But wow, now you flip the script and you're like, oh boy, the first 2 games, yes, you know, on the scoreboard, they lost. It wasn't that bad of games. They had bad goaltending. They could have easily been up 2-0 on the season. Now, this one hurts more because you weren't up 2-0. So now you're down 0-3. To start the season. It's not fun. I can tell you that. And if people tell you like, oh, there's no panic. I'm not saying there's panic. I'm not saying that they're going to, kick cans and trash cans and Bednar lost his wires crossed in between periods. Or no, none of that. But I'll tell you one thing. It's human nature now. It's got to start creeping up in you a little bit. You're 0-3. You're playing against the Boston Bruins. It's a good team. It's a good hockey team. Wednesday, at home. You've lost 2 in a row at home. Like, if you don't come up with your best effort, your best in-sync effort, goaltending, defense, forwards, special teams of the season, not time to panic, but you got to start looking in the mirror and say, hold on 1 second. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I don't want to hear about goaltending. Yeah, you know what? It's just it's not up to snuff. But if it's not up to snuff, then be better. Be better in front of them. Be a little tighter. Be better. Your top guys. Like tonight, the top guys were not good.
They were the opposite of better in front of them tonight.
That's my point. So, you know what I mean? So somewhere, somehow, I don't know. It's not normal to give up 5-6 goals a night. You know, it's not. So at some point, I loved your tweet a couple minutes ago. You're like, hey, it's unsustainable to keep it that bad. You know, that's honestly, I love the way you said it. It's awesome. If the Avs continue
giving up this many goals, they'll be the worst team ever.
That's my point. And so,
which they're not.
Unsustainable. Unsustainable. You know, to keep having those types of results.
Yeah.
Now, again, we'll dissect it a little more. It was Cale good? No, I love the guy. He's the best player on the planet.
Not tonight.
I'll reiterate that. And not tonight. You know what I mean? So you're going to have people's best nights of the season Wednesday against Boston. And hey, listen, it's not being negative. I'm talking about as a player. It's not being negative, but it's human nature to start looking now and say, oh boy, we're 0-3. We lose Wednesday, you're 0-4. Now you're starting to really dig a hole. Not everyone. I don't want to hear the Edmonton Oilers last year. Oh, my Lord, they lost the first 20 games. Yeah, that's not normal what they did. It's not normal. You can't lose that many games and then win that many games. It's unheard of. It's absurd what they did. It's just not a recipe. Again, I'm not saying the Avs are going to lose 20 games. I'm just saying we've been talking about it this past month about breaking it down, first 20 games, break it down to 5-game segments. Well, guess what? The first segment they've already lost.
Yep.
They're already 0-3.
Yep.
Even if they win the next two, they've lost the segment. So it's not alarming. It's just that, boy. Set up your alarm clock, though. You know what I mean? To make sure you're
I think
waking
it's
up
a little alarming.
Sorry. I meant to say it is a little alarming. It's not panic time, but it's a little alarming. Absolutely. And if you don't think so, you're in the wrong sport. Because at some point, it's about winning. It's about being on top at the end of the game with 2 points on the board. And when you don't do that, it's not a league for claps. And like you said earlier, it's not for babies. It's a tough league. It's a tough league.
Yeah. Look, just going through it.
Yeah.
Piece by piece.
And by the way, I love those numbers.
I mean, we'll get to the numbers in a second. I want.
I thought you were going by what you were telling me.
I want to
earlier.
simplify even more than that.
Yeah.
Goaltending, bad tonight. Not ridiculously bad like it was the first 2 games, but it's still an 865.
You can't win this league.
I know. I know he got hung out to dry on multiple of those goals, but that's still not good enough. Defense, abhorrently bad, unacceptably bad from your defense.
Yes.
You look at your best, what is supposed to be your best defender in Cale Makar. He's pretty much directly responsible for 2 of the goals against. But then you look beyond him too. Oliver Shillington really struggled, directly responsible for 1 of your goals against. Josh Manson actually started this game really well. Picked up an assist on the Cal Ritchie goal and then immediately gives it away with a bad flip and gets beat up the ice and gives a breakaway up. Just unbelievably bad from the Avs defense as a whole. The other guys I didn't mention weren't all that good either. So it was bad. Your forward core, almost all of it was bad. Look, we're going to give Cal Ritchie some props later, and they're deserved. He was also the Avs' worst possession forward in this game. You look at the Avs' bottom 6, there is almost nothing positive to take out of the Avs' bottom 6 forwards from this game. And all of that is bad and is nowhere near as bad as the Avs' best forwards just going invisible for the second period of this game.
Yeah.
You cannot win hockey games if you're not winning them with your best players.
No, that's any team. But
and the Avs' best players didn't even come close to helping them win this hockey game. They completely just not just disappeared, were actively bad for significant stretches of this game.
I agree.
It's impossible to win games. You just can't. You will not win games like that. So where's the good special teams? They gave up a shorthanded goal tonight. Not good. There is no positives on a team scale. There is no positives to take from this game. I'd tell you wrap it up and chuck it in the bin, but it's hard to do that when you've lost 3 in a row.
And numbers are matching up to the eye test and matching up to the final score where you didn't see that the first 2 games, right? Mm-hmm. Numbers did not.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
There is no talking yourself into, well, the Avs could have won this game if. No, they 100% lose this game every time.
But I think as a coach, the way he did his presser yesterday was all about that. Hey, if we look at the numbers, guys, it's not that bad. Without being mean and singling out the goaltending, I mean, it's just the numbers said it. It was a goaltending issue. You know what I mean? And then now you're looking at tonight, like you said, it's more the real numbers looking like the final score and looking like the eye test.
Yeah.
I mean, it all meshes in together. You know what I mean? Where there's some outliers usually in a season, right? Would you say maybe 10 aside? You know what I mean? Like where numbers wise, you should have won the game,
they don't match
and
up.
then and they don't match up, and then while you win the game, and then you absolutely got destroyed, right? I mean, again, I say 10. Maybe I'm too high right now in numbers, but right now, this tonight was Islanders were the better team. Islanders were the better team in every category. Islanders came out on top with that win, and you can't look at it at any other way. First of all, there's not enough passion, right now, and you'll get away by the first two. You say, "Oh, okay, we could have won, we didn't win," because at the end of the day, you didn't win. Tonight, you don't win. You're gonna have to bring out a little bit more passion right now in the next game, a little more energy. You have to dictate play of the game, like you said. They started well. They started well in Vegas too. You know what I mean? And somewhere they're not sustaining it, and then next thing you know, I think the most telling number you gave me tonight, they have not won one period so far this season.
Correct. They've tied one.
I'm just saying it's kind of tough to win games when you're not winning periods.
You've not won a single period.
So if you want to simplify it, I thought that was awesome what you said to me earlier.
It doesn't have to be complicated.
I mean, again, you one game at a time, but it really comes down to the cliche. It's one shift at a time, win one period at a time, and then, go from there. Listen, I agree. It can't be any worse, like you said. You're 0-3. You haven't won one game. I mean, so it can't be any worse on the score sheet, but they can be a lot better. They can be a lot better, especially tonight. And you're right. Again, we are so positive with the score. We are so grateful to have these guys. But tonight, as a group, as a core group, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough.
I'm sure every single one of them would tell you that too.
Exactly.
It's not a secret.
I'm sure we'll hear from some pressers and, somewhere, somehow.
Yeah.
Wasn't their best game.
Yeah, they all know.
Yep.
Doesn't make it any better.
No.
You can't.
Hey, we can only talk about what we just saw.
Yeah,
like you
of
say
course.
all the time, right?
Of course.
So
It is what it is. Look, we'll get into some of the individual stuff and break some of that down. But on the whole, as a team, not a single thing was good enough. So just you have to play better than that. In the NHL, you cannot get away with taking a period off. That's how a game goes from a close game to one that is over against you. So it is what it is. As far as the Avs are concerned, I don't know that you will even have a lot to say if you're Jared Bednar in a post-game presser, which we'll probably get later. But what do you have to say other than, we played terribly, and that's the end of it?
and is it a day off? I think it's a day off tomorrow. I think
It is a day off.
I think it's a planned day off. Obviously, it's through the NHLPA and everything. Yeah, you mandated one day off a week, and maybe that just comes at the right time. I mean, guys, you know what? Stay home, regroup, play with your your kids, your dogs, whatever it is that you do. Get your mind away from the game a little bit, and then let's just come to work. Wednesday against, like I said, a worthy opponent, the Boston Bruins, and then all of a sudden, be refreshed. Bring a little bit more passion than you did tonight. I didn't like the passion level. I didn't like the energy level. You're the Avalanche. You're a good team. You have a great home crowd, best fans in the league. And I think that it didn't match up a little bit with what the effort and the energy and the passion of. It's a privilege to play in the National Hockey League. I've always said that. And I think they know that. I think they'll be the first ones to tell you, having a nice little meal in the locker room tonight and walking around and say, we got to bring the energy level up. It's not good enough.
Well, I'll tell you what, Eric. Here's a silver lining for you. They're making your life easier. Still at 0 points if you're going to chase them down in your Ready, Set, Go program. So
I got to be honest. I got to be better. I lied to AJ. Those were not dried mangoes. I don't know if he's still awake.
That man is anywhere but here, for his own sake, I hope.
Hey, Jay, I lied to you.
Either way, make sure you're getting with the Ready, Set, Code program to keep yourself healthy here in Colorado. Jump on it with them. Go get with Coach Prime. Not just physical health, but mental health, sleep health, any other kind of health you can think of. Ready, Set, Co has you covered. The whole plan is just to get Colorado back to being the healthiest state in the country. So even if it's just a little thing that maybe makes your day a little bit healthier, make sure you're getting with UC Health and getting it done. Jump on it. Again, there's a link down in the description to get with UC Health, or you can join the Ready, Set, Co challenge today at uchealth.org/Ready, Set, Co. Once you've joined UC Health, make sure you are also taking care of yourself by driving into work in your Toyota. All right? You drive in and you feel good, you're going to work good. That's definitely a real saying. Trust me on it. But no, go get yourself a Toyota. They have a car for everybody. They've got trucks, they've got SUVs, they've got sedans, they've got more, you name it. They've got you covered. 17 different all-wheel drive vehicles. So if you're off-roading or you're just going out in Colorado in the winter, that's taken care of. 16 different hybrid vehicles, the most of anyone. So you can get yourself eco-friendly vehicles too with Toyota. Whatever it might be, make sure you are getting over to your local Front Range Toyota dealers, including, but not limited to, AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota and Boulder, Groove Toyota and Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. The official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche is Toyota. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast, and I want to start at the top here. The Stars were not good enough tonight. I thought McKinnon was the best of the three.
Yeah.
Look, he ends up getting a point on that middle stat goal. He does at least have some production. He looked like he was playing with some pace, trying to play effective hockey, even if it wasn't his best game in the world.
I think we said it right away, right?
Yep.
We were like, man, he's flying. Max flying. You know what I mean? Like, I agree. I think best of the three. He didn't have that glaring mistake, let's say, like Mikko did. I love Mikko. Wasn't good. You know, the giveaway on the power play that led them to getting benched a little bit on the power play.
Yeah. I want to talk about that too.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. And then Cale obviously, you know, gives that giveaway. Then he gets beat to the front. So it was a tough night, you know, for the three amigos, so to speak, because we'll put them all together, right? They're three of the top 10 players in the league. So again, we'll give them all the praises in the world as they should, as we love. But when it's not there, it's not there, right? So you got to be fair. It wasn't there.
And to your point, this is maybe one of the worst games I've ever seen Cale Makar play.
Yes.
He still got a point tonight, by the way.
Yeah, he's got 5 points in 3 games, but, you know, like, it's just a matter of Cale's his hardest critic for sure.
Oh, he knows. Yeah.
He knows, and I'm sure we'll hear from him. And somewhere, somehow, you know, again, would I bet my house that he's fantastic next game? History says that the 3-4 year, whatever he's been here, whenever he has a night like this, and like you just said, it's very rare. He usually comes back strong, and you know he's a dominant force. So I would put you know, maybe some money on Bet365,
and particularly on a night where Devon Taves is out tonight.
That's exactly.
The defense needs a big game out of Cale, and it's one of his worst. It's you're not going to be able to recover from things like that.
What's missing, and now you add Joe, and you know, when I say Joe, Jonathan, you know, Devon, and you know what I mean, like it adds up, right, to what has already been missing. Well, your goaltending has to be impeccable. It just hasn't been. Your defense has to be impeccable. Hasn't been, right? And then your offense, it's been there, except tonight, you know, not as good as the first 2 games. You know what I mean? But somewhere, somehow, hasn't been dormant, right? The offense in those 3 games. So you just need to be a bit better in every category because of the situation we're in with the bodies they're missing. So you can't have an average night. And if you have an average night, and if you have a bad night defensively, then your goalie has to stand on his head. Nothing has happened in sync. Nothing has happened all together so far this season.
Well, you kind of mentioned it. You were talking about Cale Makar being his own worst critic. We did catch up with Cale after the game, thanks to Gismo. Let's hear what he had to say.
Just got to learn from this one. focus on that. So, yeah.
There's some mistakes coming from trying too hard to break out of this fight.
I don't think so. I think just a lot of myself, just not moving my feet, not playing my game, and just kind of where it's at right now. So, I mean, I'm hard on myself, but at the end of the day, I got to be better for these guys. It's definitely a lot closer game if I don't play tonight. So.
After the first 2 games, it was a lot of there were some positives to take out of this. Did this one feel different than the first 2?
I still think we started really well tonight. I think our first 5 minutes was good. Just again after that, obviously we get the first one and then just give up another couple quick ones and another one at the end of the period. So obviously it's tough going in the period knowing that they just scored, but at the same time we're used to it now. So overall we got to be better, but yeah, as an individual I got to be a lot better.
Jared said last game, he could sense guys were a little tight on their sticks after that first period, a little nervous. Like what is the feeling you're getting in the locker room right now with the 3 losses?
Yeah, I think for us, we just have to continue to stay confident in our abilities. Nobody can lose. We can't lose any of that right now. Obviously, at the end of the day, we're 0-3, and that it is what it is. But like I said, we got to learn from it. We're going to go back, and we got to play a really good team next game. So that's kind of the way it goes. And I don't think, obviously, at the end of the day, a lot of new guys in this room, and we might be feeling the pressure early on. Guys want to play well and stuff like that, gripping a little bit too tight, but that's on us as leaders to make sure that everybody can kind of relax and play our game. So, yeah.
You guys were scuffling 3 years ago out of the gate and were able to turn it around. Can that be a measuring stick for you, or a place where you don't get so discouraged?
For sure. I mean, every single team, you're going to go through spurts like this in the season. Obviously, you don't want it to be right at the start coming off camp, but at the same time, the year we won, the last 2 years, we've gone through stints where, last year, I don't know, we lost 6 or 7 or something like that, and it was just, the world seems like it's falling on top of you, but at the end of the day, you're going to find a way out of it, and I think that's the positive note that we got to take from this, and we definitely can't get down on ourselves, obviously, but yeah, we just got to win the next one. That's all we're focusing on.
Last year for Cale, please. I know you've been really hard on yourself in this interview. How much of what happened with yourself tonight had to do with Devontae's being out?
I don't think any of it, to be completely honest with you. I should be able to play with all these guys, and we're a very capable back end. We should be able to mix and match pairings, and people can think what they want, and obviously it definitely looks like that now, obviously. So I just got to come back better than I was today, and that's all I got to focus on.
Yeah, thanks, Cale.
So, as you said, Cale knows. He understands. I think everyone in that locker room knows they weren't good enough. Not a single player in there is going to say they, as an individual, had a good enough game in a game like this one. So,
and it starts with Cale, right? I mean, again, he wasn't going like this. He's going like this. Hey, I wasn't good enough. I got to make people better. It starts with me. I got to make better plays. I got to move my feet. I'm just not playing my game. Totally agree with him. Again, he holds himself to high standards. We hold him to a high standard for a reason.
Yep.
You don't get to be named the best player on the planet when you're not good.
You're right.
He is the, I mean,
I hear
but
you.
tonight, and he's the first one to tell you, I wasn't good. If he lives up to the level of the best player on the planet, then the Avalanche might have a chance to win, like on a game like tonight. But when you're not getting that from your top guys, you're not getting elite goaltending, you're not getting elite defensive play. That's what you get. You get that tonight.
So let's move to the defense here.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, what do you do with your defense for next game? It's unclear. Taves is day to day. Maybe he can go. Maybe he can't. So you're looking at plugging in at least one guy that you wouldn't. But you also have Calvin DeHaan, who you scratched tonight. And look, I'll be straight with you. Oliver Shillington did not have a good night tonight.
I didn't like Shilly's game. I mean, for me, if you're telling me that Taser is healthy, okay? So if you're telling me Devon Taser is healthy, I like the way they've had the first few games in a sense that I like Cale Makar, Gerard Manson, which have to be better too. They weren't the best tonight, and I love those two. You know that I do. I thought they were.
Yeah, I know.
Below average.
Gerard
right?
Manson were bad too.
Okay,
but
yeah.
their lineup spot is locked in. They're not going to be sitting
that's my
tomorrow.
point. If you're asking me if you want my tops, and then I go Don Malinsky. That's what I do. I didn't think that Ludwig was bad. He's fine. Again, he's a waiver pickup. You didn't trade a first round pick for him, so for what he is, he's more than fine. And then Shilly had a tough night. Shillington, I didn't, that's not going to keep you in the lineup if that's how you're going to play. So for me, I go back to, Dahan Malinsky is what I would do against the Bruins. And again, I'm assuming that Devon Toews will be back.
If he's not back, I don't know. There's some weird sound going on. Oh, it's the TV. Nice. Love that for us. Anyway, yeah, I don't see how, when you're looking at how these players have played, for me, it's Ludwig for sure over Shillington if you have an injured Taves.
Yeah.
And then you have to go back to Dahan based on the performances you got in this game. I don't think there's even much to think about.
Again, I say it all the time. I'm not an old geezer. I am older, but I act young. But I like experience.
Yep.
I do. Now you're missing a Devon Toews on a night like tonight. So you're taking about, what's Devon Toews at? 600 games, 500 games? Oh, no, actually, tonight would have been his 400. Sorry, I jinxed it. Sorry. All right, 400. Then you're taking what Dahan at? 600? 600?
700, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you're taking 1,100 games and right there, just in two bodies. And that's why for me, I go back to Dahan and cross my fingers that Toews is back.
All right. It is what it is.
Because they really didn't give up anything the first two games. So
you're not wrong. They didn't give up a ton, but they did give up a lot tonight. And again, these are guys down the lineup who I think played poorly, but you look no further than Cale Makar. -3 tonight, 2 goals directly on his head.
Yeah.
You need better.
Tough one. And he'll be better.
Looking through the rest of the forward core, let's get to our UC Health Live Extraordinary player of the game, and that is going to be Cal Ritchie. I will be honest with you. I don't think Cal Ritchie had a great game. I will be honest with you. That does not matter to me at all. He scored his first NHL goal. That's an amazing moment for anybody. And at the time, it was actually a pretty big goal in the game because it gave the Avs a lead. So it was a meaningful goal, too.
It's a meaningful goal. Congrats on the young man. You dream about that your whole life. Parents must have been jumping. I don't know if they're here or if they're watching on TV. Grandparents, siblings. Man, oh man, is it fun to watch. And when he's a grandpa one day, he'll be able to tell them that he deked the best player in the history of the New York Islanders and then... He put it top shelf, backhand shelf. It doesn't matter.
Not a tap in on the back door.
I'm not making fun of his goal. I'm just saying, listen, the moment you put the puck in, you can see his face. It's absolutely euphoric, right? It's yes! You know what I mean? So it's awesome. Good on him. Congratulations to him. It only happens once, right? Your first NHL goal. So I love that we got to pick that. But like you said, I think there's a lot more to the game than just that, but we'll pick that moment and, congratulate him, make a nice graphic for him, and, he'll remember that the rest of his life.
You know who didn't score a goal tonight?
Me and you, but also everybody else on the Avs except for Casey Middlestat. So Ritchie got it done. These guys couldn't. It's part of the deal there. The rest of the forward core. As I mentioned, Casey Middlestat does get you that goal. Power play just expired late in the third. Also didn't have a great possession game. Kind of on the wrong side of a lot of things. Really, your only positive possession line was your top line with Ross Colton on it. And we've talked about, yes, they ended up positive in possession, but a lot of that is some score effects later in the game. Yeah.
They really let you down for the second period. You also had a couple of players play okay. The usual suspects, guys like Logan O'Connor, guys like Yoel Kiviranta. They will give you a steady performance even on nights where your team is maybe not at its best.
Well, guys like that usually don't move the needle, right? You know what I mean? Either way, they don't bring it down, they don't bring it up. So when your top guys are not, they'll move the needle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Their job isn't to score your goals.
Exactly. So they did their job, so to speak. They'll never tell you that. Logan O'Connor won't sit here and tell you, I did my job tonight, I mean, usually guys like that. There are some, not gonna lie to you, they just don't last very long in this league when they think that way. But yeah, it's a team game. You win as a team, lose as a team. That's a cliche, but it's such a truth in the National Hockey League. But you're right. They're gonna play one way and always the same way. And I make fun of Kivy all the time, and I say I want to be reincarnated as him, and but again, he's earned the trust of the coaches. He did that in tough situations like last year in the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. So they know what they're going to get from him. Sometimes would you like more from him offensively, especially when things aren't going too well for the big dogs? Yeah, but I wouldn't expect that much from him. Well said. I mean, not without stomping on him.
Yeah.
He just did his job.
They're not the guys who are going to bring you back from a 3-goal deficit. I'll put it to you that way. Anyway, on that note, we are brought to you by Coors Light. Go get yourself a Coors Light. I mean, geez. Would have made that game more entertaining if you had a few Coors Lights. I'll put it to you that way.
Boy, oh boy.
Maybe you're freaking out and you think the team is going down the tubes. You might need to chill. So go reach for a Coors Light when you need to chill. Get yourself some either at your local liquor store or get it delivered right to your front door with CoorsLight.com thanks to Instacart. Go jump on with them today. The beer made to chill, like I mentioned, the mountains literally turn blue to let you know it's cold and crisp and refreshing and ready to drink. Jump on it. Use Instacart, CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Of course, please party responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And once you've had a Coors Light or two, once you're enjoying life and feeling good, make sure you're also getting in with Bet365. Go throw some bets down. If you think this garbage is going to continue for the Avs, take the over for any team playing against them. Why not? You might as well, right? At least you're emotionally hedging that way, so you either win money if the Avs are bad or the Avs are better. One of the two. You get something either way. Tons of other bets as well on Bet365. You can bet on whatever you feel like. Player props. You don't even have to bet on hockey if you want. You got basketball. You got the MLB playoffs. You got football. Whatever it might be, Bet365 has it for you. So jump on with them. Go use the DNVR 365 code at Bet365 to get yourself $200 in bonus bets when you bet 5. Of course, when you are with Bet365, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Is Bednar ready, Tiff? All right, let's hear what Jared Bednar had to say about this terrible hockey game.
Questions for Jared. I know you're missing a lot of key guys, but what did you think of your top players?
No, there's no excuses. I didn't like our game tonight, top to bottom. It's terrible.
It's surprising considering what you guys did in the first 2 games that you would come out that way.
Yeah, it is surprising because I would have bet money that we were going to be really good tonight. Just around the room, so I can't really explain it at this point.
Coach, did you feel that there was a little bit of confidence shown from Gorgiev?
Yeah.
Considering the last 2?
Yeah. And probably not a great start, right? But I thought, that was our worst defensive game of the 3 by a mile, not even close. And so, tonight he made a lot of big saves. He did. Yeah.
Is it harder to turn the page from a loss like that when they kind of pile on the way they have the last 3?
No, but it's harder to turn the page because of the way we played. There's I was honest with you guys, I know on the outside you can look at the score 8-4, 6-4, that's horrible results, but there's a lot in both those games that I liked a lot, a significant amount. And tonight, I'll have to go through with a fine-tooth comb to find something I liked.
Do you think there's kind of added pressure, not because you're missing the talent you're missing, but because you're missing those guys, other guys are trying to do too much? Is there any bit of that in your eyes?
I think it could be a better question for some of the players, but I think that tonight it looked like what we were cheating the game. right? You have to play the game the right way in order to have success. If you're trying to cheat it for offense, then things aren't going to look good defensively. And I don't want to say that's the only scenario, because like we struggled with the puck, we struggled to make plays, we were trying to make plays into traffic when it just looked like we weren't seeing it. We made a lot of soft plays. We were delayed on some of the plays that we were making, like it was too slow. There was a lot wrong with it, so it's hard to narrow it down. Like, I can go through the first couple of games and tell you exactly what I didn't like about the games, exactly what I did today. Like, it's...
Is there a stretch like this in the past you can compare this to?
Oh, yeah. I just don't like it because it's at the start of the year. Yeah. Every year, multiple times. Yeah, a year.
Ritchie gets his first NHL goal.
Yeah.
I know you said it'd be tough to find anything you liked about this game, but what can you say?
Great start to the game. I thought, I didn't notice him as much after, but he had a great start. He was skating, looked confident. His first couple shifts, he scores. He went out another couple shifts. He looked great. That's the best he's looked like just in a small window. And I've been going through his games and talking with him and trying to get him to understand that he can play with some more confidence, a little bit more swag, or use his skating to his advantage. He did that early in the game, and maybe even later on. I wasn't watching him as closely as I was watching the start, but he had a great start to the game. Got rewarded because he was doing the right things.
Is there a common thread in the mistakes being made, like communication or an effort or confusion?
Well, there was some plays tonight where we didn't have the effort we needed on the defending side of it. And I don't know, we've been trying to ramp up the communication, and I see guys talk, but there are certain plays when we have to be way more assertive and more physical and more engaged physically to defend, and we did that in the first two games. We didn't do it tonight.
There's no Taves tonight. Is this where this will linger, or is there an update on him?
Yeah, day to day right now. Yesterday I thought it was just going to be a maintenance thing. Obviously Wood was able to go, and this morning we got kind of news that Taser wouldn't. So day off tomorrow, and we'll just see. I depends what you mean by linger. I mean, I'm hoping he's back next game, but based on today, there's a possibility that maybe he's not.
What about Jonathan? Is he a possibility for Wednesday?
Oh, no. He's going to have a little bit of a longer timeline. Don't know it exactly yet either because he's getting reevaluated. But he won't play Wednesday.
Good guys? Go ahead, Corey. Last one.
Given what happened with Alex the first two games, is it harder to evaluate what he did tonight because of everything else that was going on around him?
No, I have to separate it, right? And that's what we do, as individuals and as a team. I separate it. Like, we don't want to, like, game one, game two, we evaluate it, we go through it, we present the information to the players so they understand it. We may talk about where our mentality's at. I thought that was really important yesterday, like where are we at mentally, and really try to bring it into focus, like what's gone on. But then we try to implement the things we talk about, get better in the areas that we want to, keep building on the strengths, and try not to take, although we don't completely forget about it because there's areas we have to improve, you don't want to bring the baggage in from last game even into tonight, because then you're just starting from a place of like frustration, worry, or tense, whatever it is. You have to let it go and focus on the present and stay in the moment. That's what you got to do, and we'll have to do it again on Wednesday. But I evaluate Gorgie's game. I look at it, and I mean, that was his best of the three, and he made some big saves. He looked more like himself tonight, which is a big step in the right direction.
Thank you, Jared.
Yep, thanks.
So, Bednar, pretty upfront about that one, and the Avs cheating the game, as he put it. I think that's a good answer. We do have our man in the arena, Gismo, calling in to hopefully give us at least a little bit of a different story to the night if it is another tough loss.
Sadly, boys, I don't think there's a different story. I think Coach laid it out pretty much where it's at. That was just not the effort that they're looking for. And the sad part about it was, and you heard Coach talk about it, he truthfully thought it was going to be a better game tonight based on the way practice went yesterday, the way morning skate went today. He made it optional. He's trying to come their way a little bit, and just you get a performance out of Georgiev that wasn't great, but it was markedly better than what we saw in those first two games. And then nobody else really showed up. You in these situations, and I'm sure you said it already today, but you need your best guys to be your best guys, and tonight they weren't. Cale Makar took a lot of the heat for that. He was just really not the player that he needed to be defensively. He wore that. He knew that. And that is what it is, but in situations like this, it doesn't really help the fact that you're 0-3 to start the season. You do this 15 games in, not so big of a deal. You do it right now, and everybody's clutching the stick a little tighter. They're overthinking everything. They're trying to do too much, and you know how it is. When you try to do too much, you end up overcompensating, and it starts to blunder things. And that was just a very unsynced effort tonight from the Colorado Avalanche. At this point, you've kind of just got to throw your arms up in the air, and whatever you're doing, do it differently. Even to the point of if you put your right skate on first for the last 20 games of your career, 20 years of your career, start putting the left one on. And it's just, you've got to find a way to break whatever cycle this is and bad juju that's happening with the team.
One guy that you can at least take a look at a positive on, Cal Ritchie, does get his first NHL goal. Even if it wasn't the full team effort, is that something they can look to build off of?
Absolutely. What a great start by him. Unfortunately, the bad just overshadowed all of that, but it's awesome seeing a kid get his first goal in the league. I'm a Cal Ritchie fan, and I think what we've seen, and I've sort of been saying it the last few games, his confidence has markedly started to come up, right? He's got a little bit of that swagger, a little bit of that jam and that jump that we hear Big E talk about all the time. You saw that, and that's what happened right away in the game. That's a great start to the hockey game. That's exactly what the unit needed. And then, unfortunately, just after that, it pittered off. But that goal he scored, that was a goal scorer's goal. He got to where he needed to be. He had a heads up. His hockey IQ showed. Got himself down low, was in perfect position, and delivered the goal wonderfully. And it got everybody going. The arena was fired up. The bench was obviously fired up for the kid's first net in the NHL. And then after that, it's just a matter of trying to figure out, okay, what happened and where did it tail off?
We were discussing that a little bit, Rudo and I and Tiff. Like, you were there. Obviously, we weren't. But how was it after the first period? Well, I'm talking about fan-wise. Was there a little bit of noise? Got a little bit of, discontent, if that's a word?
Yeah, no. Listen, it started off salty when they introduced Georgiev as the starter before the puck even dropped. There were audible boo birds. So the fans were feisty right from the very beginning, and it kind of trailed off after that. You saw the roller coaster and the ebb and the flow of it, right? Like, they were pretty excited about it to get going, and then after that, it just fell apart, right? And it was a very early exit here at Ball Arena, 18,017 in attendance, and unfortunately, it's an intelligent crowd. I don't know what to say other than they're expecting winning hockey. They're expecting the good players to constantly be good, and that is a lot of pressure. I understand that, but when you don't get that out of an organization that's just very shortly removed from a Stanley Cup, despite the injuries that are in the lineup, the fans are frustrated, and I think no matter what you say, that's felt throughout the locker room and through the coaching staff. And from the short time that I've gotten to know Coach Jared Bednar, this was the most frustrated and confused isn't the right word, just at a loss for what kind of went on tonight.
They're 0-3. They have 2 games left on this opening homestand. At what point do we start talking about must win?
Well, I don't think it's must win just yet because it's early in the season. I think it's must win in the sense that they need a win for mental sake and for the locker room sake and just for something. Truthfully, I think the road trip might be the best thing for them right now. Get out of Dodge, hit the road, get on the plane, hang in the hotel, go to some dinners, do that whole bonding thing a little bit and just try to find some cohesiveness here, because that is one of the other things that Coach Jared Bednar said. He did mention that, hey, listen, we're losing. There's no communication, right? There's a little bit of confusion. There's all of these different things sort of kind of happening at once, and it's compounding. And I think you just need to try to find a way to get everybody back on the same page. They thought they had that after training camp. They certainly were optimistic about it. And the murmurs were, hey, let's just get through this stretch without some of our big players and try to come away at 500. And now it's like, well, gosh, let's just try to get a win at this moment, and then we'll build on it from there. Again, I think the sad thing is that even though it wasn't the best performance for Georgiev, he at least showed a little bit more confidence, right? We saw a little bit more of what we're used to with him. By no means was it 100% there yet, but take the market improvement. I mean, look at it like this. If they would have played, if everybody else would have played the way they played in the first 2 games, right, and then gotten that performance tonight with the performance that they got from Georgiev, they probably win this game. So, realistically, they could be 3-0 right now, but instead they're 0-3 with a lot of pucks in the back of the net.
I got one more question for you to satiate the chat, and this is a softball. Yeah. Are the Avs a bad hockey team?
No.
That easy,
no.
Chat. It's that easy.
They're not. They're not a bad hockey team. Listen, you've got the reigning MVP who looks like he's in midseason form right now, rocking and rolling. Okay, Cale Makar had a tough night tonight. That's okay. That's fine. He's a great player. You're down Taves. You're down Druin. And by the way, you're down Druin for the foreseeable future right now, which was a bummer of a bombshell that was just dropped on us. Your timeline on Lehkonen is late. You have no clear timeline on Landeskog. You also have no clear timeline on necessarily Nichushkin. You're banged up right now. I mean, they're in games, and that's a positive, but this is not a bad hockey team, not one bit. You've got a very solid bench boss. This is a guy, listen, I never played in the NHL, but, Jared Bednar is the exact kind of coach that I would want to go through a wall of fire for. So you got a good guy there who is leading and stewarding this group in the right way. But you just got to get through this. What I said it in hockey in the Rockies earlier, and gosh knows, nobody knows this better than me, but if you're going through hell, you just got to keep going. And right now, the only way out is through. So they're going to have to find a way to look at themselves in the room. They've got a day off tomorrow, which is probably the best thing for them. Grab the skate laces, buckle them down, and be ready to go against what could be a tough Boston Bruins team on Wednesday, and just try to do something on this homestand. Get on the road and then find a way to bond. The leadership group needs to be the leadership group. Go to dinners. Go do something fun. Change it up. Hell, play mini sticks in the hotel hallway like they did when they were 12 years old, if that's what it takes. But at this point, you got to flip the script and just go back to basics. And here's the thing. They're not having fun right now. You look up and down the bench, and nobody's having fun. You got to find a way to have fun. You're playing a game that they love, that they've played since they were kids with some of their best friends in the greatest league in the world and some of the greatest fans in the world. Try to find a way to smile and relax a little bit. And if you do that, it's probably going to turn around.
So there you go. The Avs are not a bad team, but they do need to play better. So hopefully they can figure it out. Giz, any final thoughts?
No, just stick with them. Don't give up on them. I think it's there. I would have put money on them winning this game today. I did put money on them winning this game today, bet 365, but that's all right. You just stick with it. The good will come. They're going to start to get bodies back, and the mentality will pick up. I do think they'll get a win on this homestand, and then I think we're going to see a big change on that road trip.
All right, there you go. Giz from the rink. Similar thoughts to Bednar and ourselves. Appreciate you coming on again, Giz. Hopefully your story's done before 6 a.m.
Yeah, we'll see about that. These are sort of writing themselves. Doesn't take me too long.
They kind of do. They kind of do. Okay, on that note, we have a new partner to announce for you guys. They're called Upswing Foundation, and it's the only youth sports foundation based in Colorado's Mile High Training Grounds that provides access to world-class programs alongside top athletes for kids of all backgrounds in order to connect people and catapult people's dreams. Jump on it with them, of course. They have an open house November 3rd, 2024, so you can still make it out to that if you want to make plans from 1 to 3 p.m. on November 3rd. Of course, you can come meet all of their coordinators. They've got dance coaches, tons of other options as well. Their new youth sports facility is on University Boulevard down in Centennial, and they're the first dedicated space built to deliver the upswing experience to aspiring athletes here in Denver. So, RSVP before October 18th, which is a little bit later this week. Make sure you get on it quick to confirm your spot. Athletes under 18 can sign up for classes at upswingfoundation.org/login or by downloading the Upswing Foundation app. And DNVR listeners get 20% off all services when you use code DNVR20 at checkout. After you get yourself all signed up, or maybe your kids all signed up for Upswing, make sure you're also coming down and enjoying yourself here at the DNVR bar. Jump on with us, have a good time, come yell and scream about how bad the Avs are down in the bar with us, or maybe yell and scream about how much better they get. One of the two. Either way, you can have fun at the DNVR bar. More than just that, though, you're going to want to join us in person November 15th, our first takeover of Ball Arena. Come watch a game with me, Eric. We're going to have some other special guests that we can't quite announce just yet, but it's going to be a great time. Of course, it includes the party bus to and from the bar. You get free beers on the party bus. It's a great time all the way around. Ask anybody who's been to one. It's always fun. You can go to thednvr.com/events. There's a QR code right there. You can also click the link in the description to sign up, get your tickets today. And if you already have tickets to the game, you can get bus-only tickets too if you just want to ride with us. So come out, come have a good time with us here at DNVR.
Fun time.
Final period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Look, the Avs at this point, there's not really anything else to say, right? It's all about going out there and playing the game that they know they're capable of.
Yeah.
You got to walk the walk eventually.
Again, all right, I wanted to stay away from this, but I'm going to go back to, I said this comment, not the only one that said that. Anybody around the league is saying that. Yeah, it's hot. I am red because I'm, hot and I'm disappointed, right? Like everybody else, like Coach Bednar, like fans, like the chat, like anybody, like you. All I'm saying is I'm going to reiterate my point that I said before the season started. With the situation that the Avs are in, when I say that, I mean all the respect and more. I am not saying Chris McFarland has slept on the switch. I'm not saying that Bednar hasn't been good. I'm not saying that the superstars are not good. With the situation that they're in, and we all knew, and you talked about it a few minutes ago, the 20-game segment. The most important aspect of the 20-game segment, once we're all said and done after 20 games, will be how was the goaltending? It hasn't been good enough, including tonight. So I don't care if Kakkonen get his visa or whatever it is. I don't care who plays net. Trent Miner, call up the guy from anywhere. But like I said, put Donnie, the equipment guy, in net. At the end of the day, it will need to be better in the situation you're in, especially when you're looking at a night like tonight with Joe Drew, and it sounds like it's a little bit longer with Tays out. If you have those situations, your goaltending needs to be great. And it has not been great. It has not been good. It has not been below average. It's been poor. So you can't have that. Once you get great goaltending, it will help calm the waters. It will help calm everything else. It will make the mistake from Cale Makar look even. We won't even talk about it because he'll have gone the other way and scored a goal or whatever it is. So somewhere, somehow, not blaming Georgiev. I said goaltending. So I don't care. Whoever wants to, it's up for the taking. I don't care that he says Georgiev is our guy. They picked up a guy on waivers a couple days ago. There's a reason. Maybe that guy's going to get the ball. And guess what? Run with it. Run with it.
Yep.
And if you're good and you make saves, you'll stay in the net. That's the situation they're in because 20 games into it, I hate to say that, but if that keeps going like this, they're going to be in a deep hole come game 20.
Yeah. I mean, look, I look at this in a couple of different ways. I think the reality of the way the Avs went into this season, they understood that poor goaltending was a possibility for this team. I don't think they thought it was going to be as bad as it was in the first 2 games of the season, but I think they understood that was a possibility. And I'm certain that they have some sort of plan there. Now, how reasonable is this plan? What options are really out there? Fair questions. But I don't really have a concern about this team not going out and doing what it needs to do to get to where it needs to be. The first portion of this season is not a disaster if they don't play very well. Now, they can't go 0-10 or something crazy. But I think there's a number of people, both inside and outside of the organization, that are not going to be shocked by a bit of a slow start. With that being said, you can't play games like this one often, if ever, right? Every team plays a couple of these games a year where it's just an absolute stinker and you move on with your life. But if you start to play a couple more games like this, then you have a real problem.
Yeah.
One that isn't just, we just go out and get a new goalie and fix it. And I don't think the Avs will look like this again anytime soon. I could be wrong. I think they will look at this game as probably the worst game that they played at the start of the season as a team.
For sure.
The first 2 games, I know you could argue were worse, but that's not the whole team played terrible. This game, the whole team played terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
So they're going to have to go out and earn it. And it's too early to say changes are coming, but you really don't have a whole lot longer to wait if it continues to slide down the hill.
It's a slippery slope in the National Hockey League. And then I'm using your words, not your words, but the words that we always say. 3, you're streaking.
Yep. Yeah.
So right now they're streaking, and it's not a good feeling. And that's why you saw Coach tonight, some anger, because losing streaks brings out crap. It brings out bitterness. It brings out what you saw in the presser. It brings out what you heard from Makar. It brings out the worst out of people. You know what I mean? But yes, when you're a veteran group, when you are a group that's been there, that's got championship aspirations, yes, you find a way to not let that streak hit a level of, like we said last year, the Edmonton Oilers. You know what I mean? Like, it's not normal. So I don't think it's going to get to that. I'm saying this, but that is up to the core group. That is up to everybody to figure it out and to stop and to put a Band-Aid on that and get on the W column.
I would remind everyone, and I'm not saying these teams are the same, but you know what the Avs record was to start the year in their cup year?
I want to say 1-4. Yes.
Correct.
Was it 1-4?
1-4.
I knew it was like a few games below, and yeah.
So if the Avs split their next 2 games at home, they're 1-4.
Exactly.
You don't feel good about being 1-4, but it's far from the end of the world.
Totally agree.
Right now, they're 0-3. You'd like a win. You'd like to put a win in the win column. If you're a doomer and you want to meme about it, they're actually 1-12 in their last 13 games, if you count the rookie tournament.
Now that, my friend, is quite a stat.
It's okay. Everything's going to be fine, but the Avs got to play better.
That's right. Right there. But we can only talk about what we saw today.
Yep.
But what do we expect from the next one? Yes, it will be fine
and
if
that's
they
my
play
point.
better.
I think you expect the Avs to play better.
Absolutely.
We do have one super chat from Melanie who says, looking forward to when they won their mojo. Own their mojo, win their. I'm not sure what you were trying to say, Melanie, but I appreciate the $5 super chat. And nonetheless, you would like them to get their mojo back.
Yes.
Certainly. All right. That's all we got I can't talk anymore about another big loss. So we're going to get out of here. We will be back tomorrow for an off day show. Come join us for that. And then we get to run back another game day on Wednesday. We'll see. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you in the next one.
We all silly like the mayor.